Welcome to another episode of Inside Rangers Football, again coming to you from Ranger Stadium, where Smithson Valley beat Madison this past Friday 28-0 to improve to 2-0 on the year. Up next, El Paso Eastwood also playing here at Ranger Stadium this Friday. Brant Freeman with you as always with Rangers head coach Larry Hill, and Coach will preview the game against the Eastwood Troopers coming up here in just a bit. But first, let's recap the win over the Mavericks. What were your takeaways from Friday's victory over Madison?
Well, we were tickled to get it. You know, they had won a big ball game the week before against a quality Clemens team that we're all real familiar with. And so we knew we were in for a challenge, but, you know, we felt like if we could limit their big plays, you know, limit their explosive plays, and then just kind of keep pounding the rock, just keep on doing the thing that we made could prevail in the end. And that's really kind of how it unfolded. We only really allowed one explosive play. We had 6 or 7 of our own, and kicking game play was a big factor again. And of course, defensively, anytime you pitch a shutout, that you get a couple of touchdowns early on there, then you know you're certainly not cruising, but it changes your game plan a little bit, and that allowed us to be a little more conservative in the second half.
You were able to get vertical offensively early in the game, hit the big touchdown to Zach McDonald, a welcome sign after the passing game was kind of limited the week before.
Right.
However, kind of tough to see Derek Matza go down later in the first quarter. What's his status now?
Well, he's going to be all right. You know, he had an injury, as you mentioned, to his non-throwing elbow, and you know, while it's painful and he may or may not miss some time, you know, he'll be back very soon. But the passing game was big. You know, I think we threw for 140, 50 yards, which is not, you know, we'll have bigger games even than that. But I think more than anything, we were just a little disappointed the week before against Warren. We had 3 or 4, 5, 50 balls vertical. We didn't come down with any of them. And we came down with a couple. You mentioned Zach McDonald, who'll be one of our plays of the week early in the ball game, and Dylan Domel made another great catch down the corner of the end zone on a 50-50 ball. We'll have to do some of those, and it was good to get them. I think they were a big difference in the game. You
mentioned Domel, and the touchdown catch he had came off of a throw from Chase Senelik, who came in place of Derek Matza. How do you feel as if Chase handled himself at quarterback after coming in?
We were pleased with him. You know, anytime you're just suddenly thrown in there and, you know, you don't see it coming, and next you're up, you know, he's like all of our team, didn't do everything right, but he did a lot of things right, and played well under pressure, gave the ball to some guys in space, and you know, managed the game well. We got some things to smooth out with all of them, including him, but all in all, really good. We didn't miss a beat.
You mentioned the shutout for your defense. In addition to that, you held Madison to under 70 yards of offense from this past Friday. Really impressive numbers. When we previewed the game the week prior, we talked about Madison's win over Clemens and how they were able to establish the run, ran very effectively against the Buffaloes.
Right.
Not so much against you this past Friday. Just how big was it for you to win first and second down and force them into uncomfortable third and longs?
Yeah, I don't think there's an offense in the world that likes third and long, including Madison's. And you're right, first and second down was a key. I thought that was a big factor. And then they had to throw when everybody knew they would throw, and our front was able to pressure the quarterback. And then I think the other thing to that, too, is scoring 21 first-half points. You know, maybe we're having a hard time running it. Now we're down 3 touchdowns, so we have to almost become one-dimensional, and that helps your defense anytime you can do that. So a great team victory.
Of course, there's always coachable moments even in a win like you had, and you look at turnovers. 2 of them, there would have been a third if not for a penalty. There were 11 flags called against you as well for almost 100 yards worth of penalties on Friday. How do you address those moving forward?
Well, our kids are very well aware that we've got to win a turnover battle and taking care of the football. You know, we've got to protect it tight when the bad guys close around, which they knocked one loose, and then, you know, we got rushed a little in the red zone and threw a pick in the end zone, and you know that's a no-no. You got to at least come away with a field goal. So, you know, it's just reminded them, and now it's really happened. So, you know, we've got to do a better job of taking care of the football, and we practice those things, but until they actually get to the game, then the lessons haven't taken hold yet. So got a little work to do there.
Friday's game was the first of a 3-game homestand for you. What'd you make of the environment at Ranger Stadium?
Well, it was good. It's always good to play here. Of course, a year after, you know, having limited crowds a year ago, it was good to see a really full stadium with the noise in the student section and the band. And of course, we played well enough to win, so obviously that contributed. But Ranger Stadium is like no other.
Well, again, Smithson Valley 2-0, courtesy of a 28 7-0 win over Madison from this past Friday. Plenty of big plays for the Rangers. So with that, let's take a look at the plays of the week.
Let's go take a look. Our first play of the week is an offensive play on our first offensive series to start the game. You can see we're down on the other end of the field of Madison, and we're going to start with a little deep ball to Zach McDonald, a senior wide receiver. He's got a circle around him closest to the screen here. He's going to go down, and then he's going to hook up in front of the cornerback and kind of foot fire and stop, and then go. And he stops and restarts, and you can see the Madison cornerback kind of comes forward. That gives Zach a step. Derek Mata, our senior quarterback, drops it right over the outstretched hands of the defender. Zach makes a nice back shoulder catch and backpedals into the end zone for a touchdown. From the end zone, you get a little bit better look at it from the offensive line and quarterback's point of view. You can see Derek getting the snap, three-step dropping. There's a pump fake. And then Derek getting good protection from Travis McCracken and some of our offensive linemen here getting good protection. Throws and the ball's up high and just over the outstretched arms of their cornerback. Zach does great concentration, makes a catch in the corner of the end zone for a big play and number 1. Our next big play is a kicking game play. It's our only punt of the night. Manuel Osorio, our senior punter, does a tremendous job for us. He's going to uncork a 59-yard punt. It's a good snap there by Caden Baumgartner. Manny kicks the ball away from their return man. You can see it's over outside the hash. It hits a little end-over-end tumble, rolls dead on the 4-yard line. A 59-yard punt where we've just totally flipped the field. We surround it and down the ball down there on the 4-yard line. From the rear, we'll focus on Cade Baumgartner. That's him snapping. He handles all of our punt and extra point snaps. You can see that snaps right on the button. Manny's kicking it away from their defender. Their returner, you can see, has a circle around him, and we're trying to directional kick away, which he did. Ball hits the ground and tumbles. Lance Zuber, Cade Baumgartner, several others down there, and down that thing on the 4, and our defense is set up in great shape. Our next big play is a defensive play. It's the last play of the half. We're up 21-0. But Madison's on the move, and they have time for one more play, and we got a nice little twist stunt here. Got it on both sides, but you can see it best on this one side. Jackson Maynard is the inside man going out, and then Brock Whitaker, senior defensive end, is coming under him right there. And at that point, then we've got pressure on both sides. Forces the Madison quarterback to step up. We get the big sack. They can ill afford a sack because there's no time left, and they have no timeouts left, and the clock runs out. As we go to the end zone angle, you can see it better. We actually have a twist on both sides. To the left of the screen, you have Gavin Woods at defensive end, and you also have Sam Cifuentes at defensive tackle. That's Sam that's got the arrow going to the left. Sophomore Jackson Maynard, he's going deep to and outside to the right. They're going to draw the blockers to the outside, and when they do, Gavin Woods and Brock Whitaker, the defensive ends, loop under him and get to the quarterback. You can see we've got him viced on all sides by all 4 of them. As he steps up in there, Brock Whitaker's actually the one that gets the sack, but just a tremendous play with all 4 of them around there. The clock runs out. We preserve our 21-0 lead going in at the half. And those are our plays of the week.
And Coach, again, you highlighted the punt for Manuel Osorio, and your kicking game has been very impressive between the kickers themselves and the returners as well. Especially on kickoffs, I've noticed that you've been doing a very good job of either kicking the ball into the end zone or pinning opponents inside the 20. That's been huge.
Well, that's a goal of ours. You know, we have a big play board in the field house wall, on the wall of the field house, and that's one of the big play opportunities, get them inside the 20. And Clayton Amaya, our freshman sophomore kicker, has done a great job of getting the ball over into the corner or blooping it into an empty gap. And and our coverage team has done a really good job. So again, those are things we emphasize, but until they show up in a game, and so for 2 weeks, it's been a big factor.
Well, after the win over Madison, it is on to El Paso, Eastwood, a game we'll preview coming up right after this on Inside Rangers Football.
Coach, I can't believe we've been shooting these commercials for 10 years.
Man, time flies.
Indeed it does. One of my favorites is when they dump that ice water on you on the sideline. That was great. I think it was the middle of November. Oh, and remember when we turned a 300-pounder loose on you and he was knocking the silly out of you? Man, I can't wait to see what we're going to do this year.
This year's my pick.
orthodontics.
That's what I'm talking about. Release the sharks!
Hey Fuller, does your dad insure this?
No, but if it was a car, he would.
Hey Fuller, what about this?
No, but if it was your parents' house, he would. Okay, listen. If it's auto, home, life, or business, my dad can insure it.
Let's go Rangers!
This week in Rangers trivia, Smithson Valley is 2-0 after its 28-0 win over Madison this past Friday, the Rangers' first shutout victory of the season after posting 2 shutouts last year. How many times has Smithson Valley held an opponent scoreless since Coach Hill took over in 1993? Is the answer A, 28, B, 31, or C, 36? The answer is C, 36. That's an average of more than 1 shutout win per year in the Coach Hill era, and nearly 1 in every 7 wins the Rangers have posted over the past 28-plus seasons. So that's right, 36 shutouts over 28-plus seasons for Coach Hill, more than 1 per year, Coach. So I guess you're doing something right with the defense.
Well, we hadn't shut them out every time, so that would be the best. But yeah, we try to take a lot of pride in our defense here, and a lot of times, a lot of schools put a lot of emphasis on offense, and defense is something they tolerate here. We know it's important, and it's a great comfort to your offensive team and offensive coaches knowing that if you do make a mistake, defense has a chance to cover you up. Or if they do go down and ring the bell, they may not do it that many more times. So if you can just smooth the waters a little bit, you got a chance to win. And it was never more evident than last Friday night.
Well, a shutout this week might be easier said than done as the Rangers host El Paso Eastwood. The Troopers are 2-0, and they're coming off a game in which they scored 75 points from this past week. So what can you tell us about Eastwood?
Man.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, it is a lot of points, and you throw on the tape really in both of their games, and we've obviously done a little homework on them from other years. And, that's been a pretty consistent theme. They've always been a high-scoring team, a very wide-open style of offense, have an excellent playmaker quarterback who can not only just stand there and deliver those throws, but he can create with his feet and buy time, and 2 or 3 excellent receivers in the back can score from anywhere as evidenced. And so, they have the reputation of being high scoring, a little out of the mainstream. You expect some onside kicks, some fake punts, some things that you don't always see. And, I don't think they've lost a regular season game since early in 2019. And, a good Abilene High team, I think, had to stop them right at the end of the game that ended their playoff run last year. So, they're the premier program out there. We struggle to find a game 3. They struggle to find a game 3. So here we are playing each other. We're playing somebody from another time zone. But we're looking forward to the challenge, and it will be a tall challenge this Friday night.
Yeah, you mentioned the playoffs for El Paso Eastwood. They've made it now 3 consecutive seasons. This is an opponent, though, you've never played before, so this will be an introduction of sorts for Ranger fans to the Troopers. You haven't played an El Paso team of any kind since Monwood, I think about 8 years ago or so. But you look at the brand of football out there, the high-scoring offenses. Does Eastwood fit that mold maybe better than any other out there?
I think so. They have that reputation, as you said. They can score on anybody, anywhere, anytime. If you're scoring on them, they feel like they can match you. Going to try to buy back possessions, get an extra possession with some unusual stuff in the kicking game. And, Coach Lopez has done a tremendous job since taking over there, and, their reputation is well earned.
110 points through 2 games. They're averaging more than 600 yards of offense. And when you look at the numbers, it doesn't look like it's coming from just one aspect. It's not just through the vertical passing game. It's not just with a ground and pound rushing attack. How do you go about defending an offense that does a little bit of everything?
Well, I think the biggest thing you do is try to limit explosives, try to make them drive the ball. If you can't get them 3 and out, let's at least not give them the 50, 60, 70 yard in one play chunk. And they've made a living on that, so that's easier said than done. But we'll have to mix our looks a little bit, make them think it's this when it's really that, and bluff this, but we're really going to do that. I mean, we can't just stand there and play against a team as well-versed and as talented as they are. So, huge challenge. Well, hopefully we'll be up for it.
It's easy to forget that with a team that scores so many points of what they're doing on the other side of the football, 2 games in, they've forced 7 turnovers defensively. What have you seen from them on that side of the football?
Well, they feed off their offense a little bit. They've been out to jump out to big leads, and then maybe people have abandoned their game plan a little early and throwing the ball and taking chances when maybe they might normally not. And that's caused some of the turnovers. Get a lot of pressure on the passer, and and then they've done a nice job of stripping the balls from running backs. So 7 turnovers in 2 games, like you said, that's pretty impressive. So I don't think our offense is going to have it any easier than our defense.
This is an opportunity for your team to be 3-0 going into a tough 27-6A schedule. Beyond winning the game on Friday, what else do you want to see from your football team as they have their final non-district test?
Well, I want to see us do better in the turnover department. We had 2 takeaways the other night, both created through the kicking game, but I want to see our defense get some takeaways. We'll see our offense do a better job of taking care of the football, and then our entire team cutting down on penalties. Biggest thing we want to do is win the game, of course, but in doing so, in pursuing that, we want to do those things.
All right, Coach, best of luck on Friday.
All right, Brant, thank you.
Again, Smithson Valley hosting El Paso Eastwood right here at Ranger Stadium at 7 o'clock. A game we'll have for you on the Rangers Network. Until next week, for head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. You've been watching Inside Rangers Football. We'll see you next time.